If you were to ask me to describe season 2, I'd probably call it the most real season Thomas has ever had. It has the most grounded stories, and the one I think has that most authentic, raw vibe to it. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. It's an amazing season, but there's something that has always distracted me when watching through the season. With any piece of media ever, like video games, films, television, there's gonna be some kind of error, glitch or bloopers being left in, or say some kind of error in the visual stage. Season 2 has these, and a lot of them, like all the time. Okay, I am blowing it out of proportion. It's probably not something noticeable to youngings or people casually watching, but for somebody who watches these very often, this becomes kind of distracting really fast. And I want to make it clear before we keep going with this, I'm not dissing on Season 2's production as a whole. The season is very well made and well structured altogether, from the story and even set design standpoint. It just seemed like they weren't double checking on certain errors that ended up being made and unfortunately ended up in the final product more often than any other season the series has ever had, seemingly. With a sequel of any kind, you would expect it to be a big improvement in every way. And while I think from a storytelling point and visuals, Season 2 does rank superior to Season 1, the fact that production is a huge downgrade is really off-putting, because you'd think they would have mastered the craft after their first attempt, but here we are with Faceless James. I also want to make it clear from this standpoint, this does not ruin anything about the season's episodes wise. It's just something that's a little distracting. I would rather the season not have these kind of goofs, but honestly, they're kind of just fun to point out when watching with someone else. Like, hey, look at this little weird thing. But honestly, it's still a very enjoyable season. The fact they were able to make such a good sequel is entertaining. It's just something I wish they would gloss over. Honestly, this was the hardest season for me to find honest issues with, because while season 2 isn't my favorite, I feel like the last 3 seasons had just more notable things about them that plagued them. What you think? Is there any issues with season 2 you had that maybe I could have talked about better here? I mean, admittedly, I could say some stories were a bit lackluster, and I think forcing Christopher to write a Railway series story for this one wasn't as strong, but still, mostly the season's amazing.